Ever wondered why there are two kinds of lawyers in England? You must have heard of terms like solicitor or barrister, but what do they actually mean? Today I'm going to give you very simple examples and I promise you, you will never forget it. Before I do, let me introduce myself. I'm Savesh. I'm a barrister of England and Wales. I have rights to provide unreserved legal services. I do not have the rights of audience. Now let's look at solicitor. Now imagine you have a health issue like a headache or pain somewhere in the stomach. Your first form of advice for health issue is not the A&E but your local GP, general practitioner. That general practitioner forms your first line of advice where they look at your issue, they provide you any medication, and they tell you what to do going forward. In the same manner, a solicitor is your first legal advisor who speaks to you about the issue that you have. They look at your evidence, they look at what other issues you're facing, and then they advise you on the best possible outcome to take, whether to sue, whether to settle, or whether to draft something for you, right? That they are the first form of legal advice. But imagine you have a serious health issue where you are developing some pain in the brain that is persisting, and you start to experience some numbness and loss of sensation in your limbs. And therefore, the doctor refers you to a specialist neurosurgeon. In the same way, in the legal world, that neurosurgeon is a barrister who's specialist in courtroom advocacy, providing legal opinions to solicitors to help them represent them in the court. Now, understand that both of them are lawyers. They have very different skill sets, but they work together also. Now, let's look at solicitors as to what do you need to become a solicitor. To become a solicitor, you need to get registered with the SRA, the regulatory authority. You need to pass SQE1, SQE2 as test, and then you need to meet character test requirements, and you need to have 2 years of work experience under a solicitor. Then you qualify to become a solicitor. Right, this course would usually cost between 18 to 22,000 pounds, depending on the university or institution that you study at. And now, if you compare that to a barrister, to qualify as a barrister, you need to have done a law degree, or if you don't have a law degree, then you need to do something called GDL, Graduate Diploma in Law. And on top of that, then you enroll for bar professional course, which lasts around 1 year if done full time. And once you've done the bar professional course, you have to also complete your development in terms of legal training at Inns of Court. There are 4 Inns of Court which are listed in the link down below. Once you've done that, then you're called to the bar, followed by you need to do a 1-year pupillage process, which is a training under a chamber where you train under qualified barristers for a year before you are signed off to practice law as a tenant in a chamber. Now, this process of completing bar professional course could cost you anywhere from 14,000 to 18,000 pounds, depending on the institution where you intend to study. Some of the names that I can suggest, which I don't endorse, are University of Law, City Law School, BPP Law School, and Inns of Advocacy. The links are all provided down below. But how do you decide that which route is for you and what are the career prospects? Well, if you're someone who has an independent mindset that you want to be your own business owner, you like to control your own hours and cases, then the kind of work you do, then barrister is the route for you, because you are a self-employed barrister in a chamber where you are, after tenancy, you get cases allocated by the clerks of the chamber, where you have to pay rental overheads of being in the chamber, and then also some brokerage fees of getting that business. Now compare that to a solicitor. You usually would be working in a firm on a fixed salary that could be anywhere from 50,000 pounds to 150,000 pounds, depending on your area of expertise and the kind of firm, like Magic Circle firm, if you're working there. And there is a lot of also incentives as a solicitor, because you get a variety of work. So you could be doing 1-day property conveyancing, which is buying and selling a property, preparing the deeds, or you could be doing contract law work, you could be drafting particulars of the claim, or you could be drafting settlement agreements for the client, or you could be representing the client for employment legal issues such as discrimination claims or harassment claims, right? But when it comes to deciding which one is for you, you have to be clear that both the professions are incredibly demanding, requiring extraordinary stamina, legal acumen, and also an ability to very quickly assess the issues in a clear and concise manner, and then counsel the client in an appropriate manner. Now, understand that the advocacy is not as shown in Suits, a TV series. And when you look at a barrister who usually would wear white wigs on top of their head, they have to make their point in a succinct and concise manner in a very short period of time. And before they do that, they have to provide something called skeleton arguments. And most of the work, as much as people have misunderstanding about, is all about written advocacy. If your written advocacy is persuasive, succinct, and quickly addresses the issue, you're likely to find that the barristers succeed in those claims. And that skill requires a lot of practice and working under skilled people who help you craft your skill, right? So if you enjoy both courtroom advocacy and also written work and independence, then barrister is the way to go forward. In terms of expectations, what you can make, pupillage amounts are quite low also in certain chambers, especially in the area of criminal law. There is a gateway that opens every year between January and February, where you get to select the chambers. You know the annual amount of money that you'll be getting. Usually it should be anywhere. The lowest I saw was 25,000 pounds per year, and the highest I've seen is going up to 100,000 pounds per year. But you can expect to increase your compensation as you go forward, and the more experience you gain, depending on the area of law you practice. But in the area of criminal law, this is a known challenge, and many people have left the profession because they're not able to sustain the living in the area of criminal law. But having said that, it is an incredible profession. The best feeling is to help a client, in a client, and make sure that they come out on the top, and giving them right sound legal advice. Solicitor also is a really great profession. They work in tandem. For example, if you in a high court claim, solicitors usually sit behind the barristers who prepare the bundle and the evidence, and then they also look after the long-term relationship with the lay client. um, and they usually complement each other. For example, when it comes to court procedures, which party to enter, whether there is a limitation in terms of bringing a claim, then these parts are kind of advised by the barristers. But when it's a question of you know drafting a claim against a certain party, whether the client has a legal claim or not, is something that is done by a solicitor. So and solicitors in general earn a lot, as far as the London salaries and research that I've done. So you can check, somebody would be billed at 300 pounds per hour, 250 pounds per hour, by the law firm. And uh, there is always a pressure of increasing your billable hours. So you need to be prepared for adversarial environment where there is constant stress, deadlines, and very, very difficult situations. But whether you are a barrister or a solicitor, both professions are incredibly rewarding. Um, so the solicitors are regulated by SRA, Solicitors Regulatory Authority. Barristers are regulated by Bar Standards Board. I am providing all the links in the link down below, and I hope you got a good perspective in terms of getting meaningful insight of both the professions. Stay tuned for more tips. Please do subscribe to my channel and drop me some comments if you need additional information. Till next time, take care.